This is Common Sense Radio. Straightforward and no excuses.
All right. Come on now.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Call me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
What I said was perfectly right and spot on accurate.
Boy's got a mouth like a cannon, always shooting it all.
Stop.
Got it.
Stop. I mean, you're way off script.
Got it in me. Gonna quit until it all comes out.
Hey, boy!
Long education.
Yeah, it's not cynical. It's common sense.
Pay attention to me when I'm talking to you.
I'm gonna rock the nation. Rock the nation.
Genuine, accountable, and raw. Here is Steve Gruber.
It's Thursday, and welcome to the Steve Gruber Show. Brought to you in part by Consumers Mutual Insurance this hour. Consumers Mutual, a co-op. It's different. It's the one I chose for my family. It's the one that I chose for my family after going through all the confusion of which insurance company to pick. ConsumersMutual.org to find out more. In Lansing, firefighter Dennis Rodman died from injuries he got when he was hit by a truck while collecting for a charity on the south side of the city yesterday afternoon. Lansing police say Rodman had some sort of confrontation with a man in a small pickup truck, a Chevy S10 to be specific. The truck then left and then came back and intentionally hit Rodman from all accounts. A 22-year-old suspect being held on charge of leaving the scene of fleeing and looting. He'll also face murder charges. Rodman was a 35-year-old firefighter. He'd been with the department 7 years. Also a military veteran. Had just gotten married and was expecting his first child. The Fill the Boot fundraiser was for muscular dystrophy. The suspect drove away from the scene and was caught nearby. Police said there was a verbal exchange between the suspect and Rodman moments before Rodman was driven over and, by all accounts, murdered in an intentional hit and run. Wow. It's tough story, and you have to wonder what the background on that is. Of course, we'll keep you up to date on that over the next couple of days. Here's a story that is sure to get your attention that comes from the Daily Beast. A cancer within. It is being called a revolt by intelligence pros who are paid to give their honest assessment of the ISIS war, but are instead seeing the reports turn into happy talk. The Daily Beast reports this. More than 50 intelligence analysts working out of the U.S. military's Central Command have formally complained that their reports on ISIS and al-Qaeda's branch in Syria were being inappropriately altered by senior officials. The complaint spurred by the Pentagon's Inspector General to open an investigation into the alleged manipulation of intelligence. The fact that so many people complain suggests there is a deep-rooted systemic problem in how the U.S. military command charged with the war against the self-proclaimed Islamic State gets and assesses its intelligence. Two senior analysts at CENTCOM signed a written complaint sent to the Defense Department Inspector General in July, alleging that the reports, some of which were briefed to President Obama, portrayed the terror groups as much weaker than the analysts believe they truly are. The reports were charged by CENTCOM higher-ups to adhere to the administration's public line. Hear that again. The reports were changed by CENTCOM higher-ups to make sure it adhered to the president's political lines. They wanted it to fit the narrative. So just so I'm clear on this, intelligence reports, are being deliberately altered to make sure that what comes out fits the narrative. The complaint is supported by at least 50 other analysts. 50. Many of whom have complained about the politicizing of intelligence reports for months, if not years. That according to at least 11 individuals who are knowledgeable about the details of the report and who spoke to the Daily Beast on the condition of anonymity. The accusation suggests that a large number of people tracking the inner workings of the terror groups think that their reports are being manipulated to fit a public narrative. No kidding. The allegations echoed charges that political appointees and senior officials cherry-pick intelligence about Iraq's weapons program in 2002 and 2003, for example. The two signatories to the complaint were described as the ones formally lodging it, and the additional analysts are willing and able to speak and back up the substance of the allegations with concrete examples. Some of those CENTCOM analysts described the sizable cache of protesting analysts as a revolt by intelligence professionals who are paid to give their honest assessment based on facts and not by politics and policy. Sound familiar? Does it sound familiar? Let me give you a couple of other names. Robert McNamara, Lyndon Johnson, and all the lies told to the American people during the Vietnam War. Exaggerated body counts. Exaggerated everything at some point in that war. Makes you wonder what's really going on. Are we really assessing intelligence, or are we just trying to pamper President Obama's worldview? The large number of analysts who complained to the Pentagon Inspector General has not been previously reported. Some of them are assigned to work at CENTCOM, the U.S. military's command for the Middle East and Central Asia, but are officially employed by the Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA. The complaints allege that in some cases, key elements of intelligence reports were removed, resulting in a document that did not in any way accurately capture the analyst's conclusions. So we're feeding garbage up to follow a political narrative. That sounds like a dictatorship to me. One person who knows the contents of the written complaint sent to the Inspector General said it used the word Stalinist. Stalinist, well, that would be a dictator, to describe the tone set by officials overseeing CENTCOM's analysis. We're being sold a bill of goods here. ISIS is more dangerous than we're being told. Iran is far more dangerous than Barack Obama is willing to believe, or John Kerry, or whatever. Many describe a climate in this CENTCOM environment in which analysts felt they could not give a candid assessment of the situation in Iraq and Syria. Some felt it was a product of commanders protecting their career advancement by putting the best spin on the war. So it's about your promotion. It's about your next promotion. Is that what I'm learning? It's about your next. It's not about giving the American people the truth about the terrorists that we are facing both home and abroad. It's about your next damn promotion and making sure you get, what, a nice house in Virginia? I have a term for that where I grew up. It's called being a traitor. It's punishable by death. If people at CENTCOM and other intelligence agencies are crafting reports so they can get a good recommendation for the next job, well, that should come with serious consequences. These complaints have been airing for nearly a year, by the way. At least that long, probably longer. It's Thursday on the Steve Gruber Show. Glad to have you on board. You can find out more at stevegruber.com. And on the Facebook page, The Steve Gruber Show, please go there. Please click like and tell your friends.
Covering Michigan and the world from his bunker below the bridge. Here is Steve Gruber.
Been driving all night, my hands wet on the wheel. There's a voice in my head that drives my heel. It's my baby calling, says I need you here. And it's 4:30 and I'm shifting gear.
Welcome back to it. It's Thursday on the Steve Gruber Show. Time to shift gears. Literally. It's time to reveal the fastest performance car of 2015, the fastest new performance car of 2015. Eddie Alterman here, the editor-in-chief of Car and Driver Magazine. And Eddie, it's a pleasure. Welcome to the program.
It's great to be here, Steve. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's get down to it. Let's get dirty on this one. Let's talk about the best cars of 2015. First of all, you get to drive them all, don't you? Now, that makes me a little jealous, but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of unfair. I pinch myself sometimes.
Yeah, well, we were talking earlier about careers and career paths. We'll talk about how you got to where you are at some point. But right now, let's talk cars. What are the best cars, performance cars, for 2015?
Well, every year we do a test called the Lightning Lab, where we take 20 or 25 of the hottest street cars down to Virginia International Raceway, which is a really fast, challenging technical track. And this year, the top 5 were, to add a little drama, in descending order. 5th place, the Mercedes-AMG GTS. 4th place, the Porsche 911 GT3.
Let's go through these a little bit of time. Tell me about that first car. The first car, the Mercedes-AMG. How much power are we talking? What did you like about it?
503 horsepower,
Wow.
big stonking V8. I mean, the thing is, it's really kind of positioned as a 911 competitor, but it's front-engined. It's a little bit more overtly muscly than a 911, and it just feels like a big cruising GT, but it was great on the track. It was really, really impressive on the track. Love that.
All right, number 4.
Number 4, the Porsche 911 GT3 at about starting at about $140,000. Again, GT3 is a naturally aspirated 911, really, really high revving, terrifically consistent car on the track, 475 horsepower, just a beast. And then when we
I
get
just like the way you say it.
The third car, the third car on the rundown. Now we're in legitimate supercar territory. Okay, the Lamborghini Huracan, 603 horsepower, all-wheel drive, bright green, mid-engine. Just a crazy V10 equipped machine. Incredible, incredible car. But it wasn't the fastest. Faster than that.
All-wheel
was
drive.
the,
I like that. Number 2.
Excuse me?
Go ahead. Number 2.
Number 2 is the McLaren 650S from the wonderful people who bring you the Formula One cars. And this car really feels hand-built and, full of titanium and faux suede, and it's just so special and amazing. And the top comes off. Also, we tested a green one. Not sure what that's worth, but that was a $300,000 car.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right.
Number one. Let's get down to business here.
All right.
Hometown hero, Chevrolet Corvette Z06 at about $100,000. Beat them all.
Really?
Beat all the European heritage brands. Right? Amazing, right?
Incredible.
But the test equipment doesn't lie. The test equipment does not lie. And it was the second fastest car we've ever had around that track, second only to the Porsche 918 Spyder.
Okay, how fast?
2 minutes, 44 seconds, 44.6 seconds, I should say. So anything under 3 minutes at VIR's Grand West course is really honking. That's a really composed, fast, drivable car. To get that close, it was faster than a Ferrari 458. It was faster than, obviously, the McLaren, the Lamborghini, faster than the Viper. I was thinking about the new Z06 relative to the old Z06. The new Z06 has a kind of drivability that the old car didn't have. At the limit on the track with the old car, it was really spooky. You didn't know where it was going to go next. You didn't know when the tires were going to break away. This car is so honed and so composed. It's got the most grip of any car we've ever tested. It's got the best brakes of any car we've ever tested. And there are certain, technical elements of the car, like the E-differential, that really make it sing on a racetrack. And the tires are incredible. It's just a wonderfully coherent, amazing package.
Well, that's incredible. 100,000. Okay, well, what's the horsepower on this Chevy?
650 horsepower, 650 foot-pounds of torque. Gets to 60 in 3 seconds flat. It's just awesome.
0 to 60 in 3 seconds. That's like motorcycle speed.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So. All right, so that's a pretty cool thing for you guys to go out there and figure out. And we're on the phone here with Eddie Alterman, the editor-in-chief of Car and Driver magazine, who says you can go buy a supercar, a Lamborghini, a McLaren, whatever, but your best bet is right here, General Motors, Michigan company, putting the Chevy Corvette V06 with 650 horse on the track. So at 2 minutes 44.6 seconds around that track in Virginia. What's our top speed?
Well, the funny thing about the Z06 is that the top speed is not that high, relatively speaking. It's a mere 184 miles an hour. But what it gives up in top speed, it makes up for with downforce. So that's really that car's secret. It has a kind of phantom weight that presses it down into the track. And they've really honed the downforce and the aerodynamics on this car, and it really sticks to the track.
That's pretty incredible, though, that the Z06 comes up with a rating like that. To me, because again, it's $100,000, which yes, that's not going to be in the average family's price range. But compared to everything else, that's absolutely incredible, Eddie. And you get to drive them all. Hats off to you for having the best career that I've seen in weeks, Eddie. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Steve. I appreciate it.
There you have it. Eddie Alterman, editor-in-chief, Car and Driver magazine. I want to be in the driver's seat. Holy cow.
Driver's seat.
Taking a closer look at the stories that affect you most with a big dose of common sense.
Bet you were ready for that. I'm a space cowboy. I'm sure you know where it's at. Yeah.
In living 3D, what do you want? What do you want on your wall? I'm thinking, a Steve Gruber, look-alike might not be a bad deal. Okay, Ivy gave me the look. Maybe that's a bad idea. I'm just throwing it out there for the sake of argument, just to kind of, help things along here. It's Thursday on the Steve Gruber Show. All right, Ivy, I get it. It's Thursday on the Steve Gruber Show. You can get involved. The hotline number, 888-900-9966. Our next guest is Michael Anderson. The reason we bring this up, of course, the CEO of Dube USA. And they're going to be doing some business at Comerica Park. But first, Michael, welcome to the program.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me.
And am I saying that right, number one?
That's right, Dube USA.
All right. And what is it? What is so special about this? I'm going to let you explain it to the listeners.
So what Dube has created is we've created these 3D scanning booths. We actually call them duplicators. And we set them up in retail locations, fans in Comerica Park or customers in other retail areas can come in, they can step into the duplicator. It takes a split second to get scanned, and then we translate that into a 3D file, which we 3D print into these really, really lifelike figures of our customers. So they're full color. Our standard sizes are anywhere from 4 inches to 14 inches, and they really are these emotional products. They're not, people have heard about 3D printing, and sometimes it's a little bit of a novelty, but these are really, really emotional products. People are coming in and they're capturing, their children, or they're capturing their pets, or they're coming in, as a couple, and it's a great way for people to start to interact and experience the technology. And
so this is a full 3D printed replica of you or your dog or whatever.
Exactly.
That's crazy. So, I mean, that's just crazy.
Right.
I want to be duplicated.
The general response when they see it.
Yeah, no, I want to be duplicated. Now, hold on, before I start duplicating and get all carried away here, what are we talking about cost?
It really ranges based on the size that you're getting. A 4-inch figure is $95. It goes up to there to $195 for a 6-inch, $295 for an 8-inch, and it increases as you go up. We also offer a digital option. We call it the digital Dube, which is $45. You can go in and get scanned, and it's a fully interactive 3D online replica. So you can go to this website. You can scroll around, see yourself from all different angles. You can share it on social media, and it's a really great option to get started.
That sounds like something. Me? I mean, that's something for Halloween, for God's sake. We're going to scare the children. I mean, come on. That seems a little creepy, Michael. All right, so this technology, let's talk about that for a second. It's incredible. And I'm looking at your website here, by the way, at doob3d.com. That's DOOB3D.com. I thought bobbleheads were cool. I thought my mark in life would be if there was ever a Gruber bobblehead. And now we're going to get doobed.
Right. It's a real thing. Yeah, I mean, the technology itself is pretty, it's interesting. The 3D figures are just, the initial consumer application. We actually started developing the technology back in Germany, where we started almost 4 years ago. And what we were doing is we were 3D scanning stroke patients, cancer patients, then 3D printing facial implants and prosthetics. And we took that technology, scanning technology, used it for a few different applications, from archaeology to art, and then opened this retail location actually in Dusseldorf, where the concept really took off. And we started expanding and using the 3D figures as a way to get people engaged with the technology and start to show how much we can offer. But really, our technology spans the entire pipeline. So we start with our proprietary 3D scanning technology, and what we do is we use a process called photogrammetry, which is still images, and it's what movie studios have always used and CGI studios to get the most color and texture. And we've just developed software to convert those images so that it's now a consumer application rather than it used to cost $5,000 or $10,000 per scan. We have our own data processing software. We have a digital modeling and virtual content creation team, so you can, create these virtual reality spaces or, whatever it may be. And then it sort of ends with the whole 3D printing aspect. So really, partners and businesses can tap into any part of that pipeline. We have partners in the toy industry that just use us for 3D printing. We have people in the film industry
Hold on. I got to ask you something.
Scanning.
I got to ask you something here. Now, it's down at Comerica Park, right? So you step into this Doob Cube, or whatever it's called. I'll just call it the Doob Cube. And you step into this thing, and then it takes your picture, it scans you, it comes around, does whatever it does. How long is until the little figurine or whatever comes spitting out the back end?
So our production factory is in Brooklyn, New York. So you get scanned at Comerica Park, and then you receive it in the mail in about 2 to 3 weeks.
I see. And what if you don't like the end result? What if the product comes and it shows me, what if I don't look right? What if I got man boobs? I mean, let's just get right down to it. What if I don't like it? If I get doob boobs, I don't want it. Then.
As soon as you get scanned, you can come out, you can check the images, and make sure that you're totally happy with it. If you're not happy with how it looks, you can go back in and take another scan.
All right, so how many of these Doob Cubes are around America now? We got one at Comerica Park, of course. You got a lot of foot traffic there. What are we going to find these at amusement parks, at airports? Where are we going to be getting doobed?
Yeah, I mean, right now we just have them in a few retail locations in New York City, L.A., just outside of San Francisco. We're going to be opening a few more here in the next couple months. The Comerica Park scanner actually represents the beginning of a partnership with Major League Baseball. And Detroit was the very first stadium that we rolled it out in at the end of, or the middle of August, really just because it was a great place to start, just because it's such a great fan base. The team itself is very committed to innovation and, a lot of the digital components. Obviously, they have some really strong presence on their website
Sure.
and engagement on the digital avenue. And then, so next year you'll be seeing us in more MLB parks.
So here's the thing. Here's the real question of the day for Michael Anderson, the CEO of Doob USA. Private or public?
We are a private company.
So how am I going to invest in that? That's no good for me. That doesn't work for me. I mean, I need to invest. I see something big happening here.
Right. Well, you can get involved. We're starting to expand right now across the USA. So, we've been in business for about a year, and everything's been going great. We've lined up some great partnerships. We've been really great in our different retail locations. So starting now, we're looking at really expanding pretty aggressively.
Well, let me tell something to folks here. The day of my daughter just went through picture day at 6th grade. that day's coming to an end soon because we'll have 3D models of our kids in 5th grade and 8th grade and senior in high school. I mean, that's what we'll end up having, 3D models. Well, what an incredible bit of technology, Michael, and a lot of fun I'm sure it's going to be. And I look forward to talking to you sometime soon to see how things are going.
Great. Well, thanks very much, Steve. It was great speaking with you.
There you have it, everybody. It's Michael Anderson, the CEO of Doob USA. You can find out more at Doob3D.com. Go look at this website. It's cool, and it's also a little bit frightening. I'm going to have to lose weight before I get doobed. We'll be right back.
Michigan, born and raised with Midwestern values and Michigan common sense.
Cross the line at an hour too time. Interstate 94 more miles through the Great Lakes State. Turn it up so the bus ain't late. Another night in Michigan.
All righty, welcome back to it. I guess we're kind of taking a little bit of a break from the hardcore news because, come on, we all need to breathe once in a while. We're talking about the Doob Cube, from the Doob Cube, which creates a 3D me or a 3D you. It's the Doob Cube. Doob3D.com. I'm just crazy. Go to their website. You got to look at it. DOOB. Yeah, they take a picture of you, then a model of you. A 3D model shows up at your house. I mean, that's whatever. One of our listeners says they don't want a 3D model of me. They want a 3D model of Ivy. Go figure. Our next guest is Duran Martinez, the host of Wild Michigan. Maybe we want a 3D Doob model of him as well. Duran, welcome to the program.
It just begs the question, that old good times question, which doobie you be?
Which doobie you be? I like it. And I don't know if you see this. 3D printing is just, it's taking the world by storm. It's a little frightening. But maybe we can make better fishing lures using 3D printers to make them more lifelike, minnow or Rapala or something. We can apply it in different ways.
Yeah, it could be. I was listening to that segment. That's pretty cool.
Well, I was just sitting here thinking about a couple of my friends that have killed really nice deer. Couldn't they take their deer, their lifelike image, and have it done the same way, and then they can have an 8-inch version on their desk for $300 to show all their friends? There's all sorts of their pets. People talking about taking their pets in there. I don't want to go in there and take too much plastic, to recreate me. But I'm saying for most people it'd work.
Yeah, I'm skipping it right now.
yeah, a Doob double cube for you and I. Anyhow, that's all right. Anyhow, so what's up in Wild Michigan, Duran?
Well, it's the dawn before the big storm coming, because in next week we start off with early doe season, and also we've got the Liberty Hunt happening next week. So the hunting season is starting to get underway. Of course, September 15th is small game, and that will be your ability to get out and do some squirrel hunting. But already we've got early goose season going on, and the early teal season just wound up. So lots of things happening as far as hunting is concerned. And yesterday, I, along with a bunch of other great hunters, anglers, and trappers in the state, joined the MUCC for Camo at the Capitol. That was a pretty nice event.
So tell me about that. Yeah, tell me about that.
Did a lot of people turn out? What's that?
Did a lot of people turn out? I just want to know what it was all about.
It was an opportunity to be seen and heard by our state representatives at the Capitol. Of course, we were all wearing our orange hats and bringing some issues to the forefront, and having that opportunity to let them know that hunters, anglers, and trappers in Michigan are putting billions of dollars into the state.
Really? Well, that's good news. So good turnout there. All right, and you've got the small game thing going on, but of course, we're still dealing here in my backyard with this chronic wasting disease problem, which concerns me as how much I'm going to be wearing camouflage in my own backyard here in southern Michigan because of the CWD thing. What have you heard? Last I heard, we were still at 3 deer. They tested hundreds, but 3 deer had been shown to be contaminated. Any update there?
Nothing new, as far as I know. It's still at 3, which is good, which means it's relatively contained to one spot, one small area. So this isn't a herd-wide issue for now, and hopefully I'm not seeing it's going to be, although I'm not an expert, don't quote me. But I'm thinking that, we have the area contained, but being able to contain PWD is, as you know, next to impossible.
Well, yeah, and so here's one of the things that's on my end. So I don't know what I'm going to do for deer hunting, but I do know that fishing this year, we were invited back to Walloon Lake in northern Michigan. As I understand that the rainbow trout and the fishing for the rainbows is really good in October. And fall fishing is something that I think a lot of people lose sight of. Now, you didn't. You were on Lake St. Clair recently, but as you head into the fall, as guys and the folks head into the woods to go deer hunting, it's a good time for you and I to wander out and do some really good, some of the best fishing of the year, in fact.
It is, and this is a time that a lot of bass anglers, if you're not deer hunting, the lake is wide open. It's time to get out, and you can do some great smallmouth and largemouth bass fishing because you're probably going to be the only person on the water.
Well, I had a guy tell me a long time ago the best fishing day of the year, bar none, is November 15th.
Yeah, absolutely, because everybody's in the woods, and you can hear where everybody's at by that time. Also, as we get into late October, into November even, the Lake Erie walleye bite, really starts to heat up. But again, that's when the weather gets kind of nasty on the big water, so you really got to be careful with that.
Yeah, but if you can get out there on the right day, it's spectacular. I mean, I've caught some of my best steelhead and so forth in the months of October and November. You just have to be brave enough, because let's be honest, some of those northern Michigan, I caught a 15-pound steelhead in Pentwater once that I remember, and by the time I got the fish to shore, my hands would barely move because my fingers were basically frozen to the rod. One of those, how your fingers just hurt. Well, yeah, and then
and then they burn later because they're starting to heat themselves up. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, it's a great time to get out and do some fishing. And if you don't want to, fight the crowds for public land in the state.
All right. So what's on the show this weekend? We got about 30 seconds here, my friend.
We're just going to be updating everybody on what's going on in the outdoors with hunting and fishing, getting ready for the early doe season, and talk about a few products that are coming our way.
Sounds good. And then later, Duran and I are going to go to Comerica Park. We're going to get Duran Doob and a Grub Doob.
The Grub Doob.
We're going to get the Grub Doob rolling with the Doob 3D. Yeah, Alex gave me that idea. I like it. Anyhow, Grub Doob and Duran Doob and, Doob boobs and whatever. We'll just figure it all out. Duran, always a pleasure. Wild Michigan can be heard on this station and a dozen or 14 more around the state every weekend. It's Wild Michigan with your host, Duran Martinez. That guy right there. Duran, always a pleasure.
As well, you as well, Steve. Have a great weekend, and don't doob too much.
Group doob. All right, see ya. It's Thursday. Oh, good Lord, help me. It's the Steve Gruber Show. I'm going to take a breath, to check my medication, and I'll be right back.